I'm not gonna take a lot of time because, I'm getting emotional. And I told myself I wasn't gonna do this.
Over the 12 years that I've been here entertaining you on television. Welcome to Hot Topics, Sharina Hudson. Getting out of my car with my money. Good morning, Journey. She'll be almost I think she'll be 3 next month, don't you know? Good morning, Kelvin. It's my truth.
You left your wife. Now, we may not care about her on the show. That's different. But you left your wife. Got you a side piece. Had a baby and was living a whole different life. And evidently, Wendy Williams was the real bread maker. Because now you can't live that lifestyle without that check. The grass wasn't greener, huh?
People have been whispering for months that Sharina Hudson was moving reckless, but nobody expected her situation to flip this hard. Out of nowhere, her whole world with Kevin Hunter started cracking, and the streets are saying she never saw it coming. The whole situation with Kevin Hunter has always been messy, and people knew Kevin and Serena were gearing up to live comfortably using Wendy's money without even blinking. But when Wendy stepped away from her show and got pulled into that heavy guardianship setup, Kevin's cash flow dried up fast. He started throwing lawsuit after lawsuit at the wall, hoping one of them would force Wendy to keep funding his lifestyle again. And after the latest case got tossed out with no hesitation, word on the street is that Kevin dipped on Serena the same way he dipped on Wendy, cold and quick.
I'm not gonna take a lot of time because, I'm getting emotional. And I told myself I wasn't gonna do this.
It was not till death do us part.
And it wasn't just an incident. I mean, the relationship that Kevin had with this woman went on for...
No. Kevin was a serial cheater. Kevin had different mistresses depending on, the part of his life. This last one was the one that he had the longest term relationship.
When Kevin was running around trying to drag Wendy back into court, Serena basically disappeared. She shut down her Instagram and went completely quiet, like she didn't want anyone finding out what was going on. But now, after months of silence, the truth she's been hiding is finally slipping out. Wendy's been dealing with so much chaos, and she's been fighting nonstop to break out of that guardianship, something she never asked for and didn't deserve in the first place. And now that a fresh assessment confirmed she was never sick and never had dementia, which was the whole reason the guardianship existed for over 3 years, everything is blowing up.
Did anybody ever explain to you why you're in a guardianship?
No, not exactly. But you know what? There are some things that I do know for myself. You know what I'm saying? And I understand. It's about my money. You know what I'm saying?
Can you talk to me about how Wendy ended up in a guardianship?
My understanding is somebody was in her bank account that Wells Fargo flagged, and there was large withdrawals being taken out.
My son, he overstepped his boundaries in terms of me. You understand? He overstepped his boundaries, and he was inappropriately using my money without telling me crap about it. Is he stealing from me? Look, all I know is that in terms of what I'm dealing with, and that this is still going on, because, that's when my money got frozen at Wells Fargo, thank God. No more money stealing from my son and the other people.
Wells Fargo, your bank, said you were the victim of undue influence and financial exploitation.
It's looking like everyone involved, the judge, her old manager, the doctor, the bank, and even the guardian herself, Sabrina Morrissey, were moving in the same direction to keep Wendy locked away from her own money. And let me tell you, karma does not miss. Now, with all this new information exposed, Wendy might finally get to shut this whole exploitative setup down and move forward, even if she's not rushing back to the spotlight or planning to work anytime soon. And Wendy stepping back from work hit a lot of people. Friends, rivals, and even people who pretended not to care. That includes Kevin Hunter and his side partner, Serena. When Wendy stepped away from her show, everything in her world shifted, and the money she once pulled in came to a sudden stop. And because of that, Kevin, yes, Kevin Hunter, got hit with a reality check he never expected.
Death to all of them.
The last thing
Wendy Williams remembers is being betrayed by her husband. A lot of people do not know how dirty this guy did her and how much she really loved this man. We first met Kevin Hunter at a skating rink in 1994, and she immediately knew that this man was the love of her life. She basically has said that she was immediately infatuated with him and wanted him to be in her life forever. Got married 3 years later and started to try for a baby, although Wendy went through several miscarriages and no doctors were really sure if she would ever be able to carry a baby to term. She was pregnant with her son Kevin Jr., and yes, she did love her husband so much that she named her one and only child after him. She spent much of that pregnancy bedbound, and of course this is when Kevin started cheating on her with other women. Even after all this, Wendy did decide to forgive Kevin for his cheating. He was even quoted, "You know what, like, I love this man so much, I just pushed it down and forgave him because I wanted to keep our marriage, which was so strong, together." Basically, Wendy wanted anything but divorce. Her life was extremely intertwined with Kevin. Not only did he help her father her only child, but Kevin also helped her launch the talk show, which made her famous.
Their divorce agreement had a smart little clause tucked inside that said if Wendy's contract ever got suspended or not renewed, she wouldn't owe him a single dollar in alimony. Whoever added that line into the paperwork knew exactly what they were doing, because Kevin clearly expected to coast off Wendy's success forever. As part of their divorce, Kevin walked away with a full lump sum payout plus monthly alimony checks that were reported to be around $250,000 every single month. That's the kind of money most people don't even see in a year. But Kevin never stopped to think that life can flip at any moment, and he definitely didn't see the day coming when Wendy's health struggles would shut down the cash flow he depended on. Once those payments stopped, he ran straight back to court in 2022, trying to force Wendy to start funding his life again. Kevin told the court that without Wendy's checks, he was basically broke and drowning in bills. He claimed he was in serious debt, behind on payments, and living in a neighborhood where the homeowners association expected their monthly fees on time. And since he couldn't keep up, he said he was at risk of foreclosure, which showed just how fast things were falling apart for him. He even admitted he couldn't pay the insurance on his luxury rides, the same cars he used to flex with like they were trophies.
But what I needed at the time, because I was running 100 miles an hour, and I was so much of a strong support structure for her and all the dreams that she wanted to accomplish, I needed somebody for me. And my new offspring, my daughter, who is a beautiful, beautiful spirit, she was not an oops baby. She was not a mistake baby.
This backwoods Barbie, he was tricking up money. She's in the passenger seat of my Rolls Royce Ferrari, and really?
On top of that, he reported being behind on his credit card payments too. By the time he filed the lawsuit, his situation must have been rough because he ended up taking out loans on 2 of his high-end cars with a company called Flex Wealth. And to make things worse, he had no choice but to put the home he shared with Serena on the market because he couldn't afford to keep it without Wendy's money holding everything up. It was clear the lifestyle he built on Wendy's back was collapsing in real time, and that dreamy image he once sold to Serena wasn't looking so shiny anymore. The grass definitely wasn't greener on the other side. And even though that first lawsuit got tossed out of court without hesitation, Kevin didn't slow down. By 2024, he came back with a whole new story, claiming that Wendy had supposedly hidden over $48 million from him during their divorce. He demanded the entire divorce be set aside like the whole thing should be started over just because he wanted another shot at the money. The court shut Kevin down without hesitation, and honestly, it was wild that he was even willing to reopen a whole messy divorce just to squeeze more money out of Wendy again. Earlier this year, he came back with yet another lawsuit, this time demanding $250 million in damages from Wells Fargo, Wendy's guardian, and a whole lineup of people involved in her guardianship. Kevin tried to spin it like he was doing all of this for Wendy, claiming her constitutional rights had been violated and that he personally had been deceived by the court-appointed guardians. So he went from suing Wendy one minute to suing everyone who had access to her accounts the next. Talk about switching lanes fast. Now, putting any opinion about Kevin to the side for a second, this lawsuit did accidentally expose just how deep the planning around Wendy's guardianship really went. It showed how Wells Fargo, the judge, the guardian, and certain people around Wendy all seemed locked in together, creating a setup that cut her off from everything she had ever built. That part shook a lot of people because it explained so many confusing moves that had been happening behind the scenes. But even with this lawsuit pulling the curtain back, most people still weren't buying Kevin's "I'm doing this to protect Wendy" claim. There's no way anyone believes he suddenly became her defender after everything that's happened. He's not her husband anymore. He doesn't have any legal authority over her, and he can't file anything on behalf of her son because he's grown now.
It was her own son. Her own fucking son got her in the situation. Like father, like son. He did the same thing his dad was doing, which makes me even more sad for Wendy. Like, the people that were supposed to protect her the most failed her. Her chosen family failed her. And you guys remember all the clips that came out about Wendy Williams, like in the wheelchair and all that stuff recently when her son graduated, the party that they had and everything like that? That footage was taken from the son's friend. So now it's making sense. The son is taking advantage in any way possible to profit off of his mother's legacy. And it won't be stopped unless he is protected, or Wendy is protected from him. How that's gonna happen with her being in Miami and the family still being in contact with the son, I do not know. But he's shady as fuck. We've been screaming free Wendy Williams, but it was her own son that got her the conservatorship. And you guys got to watch that documentary because it goes to the depths of the lengths that he went to be able to manipulate his mother.
So this wasn't hero work. This was a money play, and a messy one at that. If anything, the whole situation showed just how desperate Kevin's financial reality had become. You could tell he was scrambling, reaching for any angle he could come up with to pull money out of Wendy's situation, even if it meant going after banks and court officers. And sources are saying that his money problems didn't just hit his pockets, they hit his household too, especially his relationship with Serena. As the bills piled up and their lifestyle changed, Serena and Kevin reportedly started arguing over what their next move should be. Because let's be real, Serena didn't sign up for struggle life. From the start, people claimed she was with Kevin for the comfort, the soft routine, the easy days, and the high-end living. But now that the money wasn't flowing like before, the pressure started creeping in fast. At this point, even Sharina Hudson had to start grinding for real. She tried to keep her vegan food business alive, but it wasn't pulling in real money. And then she went and got her real estate license, stepping into the Florida housing market just to bring something into the home. The shift was serious because this was not the lifestyle she expected when she linked up with Kevin.
Kevin had gone to LA for business. And I hired a PI. Yes, I did. I hired a PI to follow my husband. And this guy is telling me that Kevin is in Miami with the girl. This is where you show the picture of them on the beach. You know the picture where she's going to the camera and he's laying there on the cell phone like they're chilling like a couple. You understand what I'm saying? The PI was taking pictures of them going to the gym, going to dinner, her with Gucci, Poochie, and Luch.
Sources are claiming Kevin hasn't been paying any child support and doesn't plan to start again until he gets his money situation back to how it used to be. That alone had people looking at him sideways, but things got even messier when Serena suddenly made her Instagram private and, according to insiders, moved back in with her mother just to get her finances straight. Now she's back online trying hard to push her business, telling people to hire her as a real estate agent while also promoting the gut medicine she makes. She did a full rebrand overnight, switching up from the soft life aesthetic she used to show off to a page focused on hustling, working, and selling her skills with everything she has. Serena's clearly trying to keep herself and her daughter steady during all this chaos, and the word in the streets is that she and Kevin may have quietly gone their separate ways. Nothing is confirmed officially, but the sudden shift in her page, her energy, and her moves has everybody talking. The collapse of their relationship has people saying it's karma catching up because there's no way Serena truly believed she would be living large off another woman forever. Nobody is wishing anything bad on her, but even Serena herself had to hint that karma came right back around, and it came without warning. People online were saying things like, "I would never be comfortable living with no man solely surviving on another woman's dime." And the vibe was clear. A lot of folks felt she walked straight into a lifestyle that was never stable. One comment that made noise said, "That's exactly what she gets for being a vulture." Another person said, "What's sick is he and his side chick planned on using Wendy for the rest of their lives."
I recommend that you work with your husband, because I made him my manager. And then when I decided to divorce him, he had to be fired. In other words, I made him divorced and unemployed all in one day, having this side girl for almost 15 years of our marriage. I've known about her almost since the beginning. I've known that Kevin is a serial cheat. The first time I found out was while I was pregnant with our son on bed rest. During that time, I gave birth to him. He was in the delivery room. You'll see that play out in the movie. He's passing out cigars, and you know, my wife and I, you know, little Kevin, who's not so little anymore, he's 20 years old. I plotted to divorce Kevin, and I sacrificed a lot of myself to come out successful on the other side.
It was harsh, but that's the kind of talk going around, and it shows how wild the situation looks from the outside. What really stunned people was how quickly things turned. Kevin once lived like he couldn't be touched, spending freely and moving bold, and now his whole foundation is cracking. Watching Serena shift from luxury photo shoots and soft life captions to real estate listings and gut health pitches had folks stunned because the transformation was sudden and dramatic. And with all of this falling apart, people have no sympathy left for Kevin or Serena. The attitude online is, what a narcissistic person just to use another person like this. And honestly, many feel like neither of them should have ever expected to build a long-term life off money that wasn't theirs. Now, the real question making people raise an eyebrow is simple. Were you expecting Serena and Kevin to break up this fast? What's making this situation even wilder is how fast the truth about their lifestyle started spilling out once the money dried up. People close to the couple began sharing little details that painted a whole different picture of what was really going on behind those perfectly posed photos Serena used to post. Turns out the luxury life wasn't as effortless as it looked. It relied almost completely on Wendy's old checks. And once those stopped, everything around them cracked instantly. Insiders claim Kevin became extremely frustrated once he realized he couldn't maintain the high-end life he had created for himself. He reportedly kept trying to find new ways to pull in fast money, but nothing was working. That's when the tension between him and Serena got intense because she wasn't trying to downgrade from the life she got used to. At the same time, more information started circling about the way Kevin handled his finances long before the breakup rumors started. Some people claim he would spend big on appearances, luxury rentals, expensive outfits, flashy dinners, just to make the outside world think everything was perfect. Behind closed doors, though, bills were stacking up fast and his bank accounts weren't matching the image he was selling. On Serena's side, sources say the pressure pushed her into survival mode, and she started distancing herself from anything that tied her too closely to Kevin's drama. She reportedly stopped attending certain events, cut off mutual connections, and even changed how she interacted online so nobody would connect her to the financial mess Kevin was drowning in. That quiet shift made people realize the breakup rumors might not just be rumors. What shocked people most was hearing that Serena had been warned early on. Apparently, friends tried telling her that Kevin's lifestyle wasn't sustainable and that depending on another woman's past earnings was never going to be a long-term plan. But she brushed it off because Kevin made everything look secure. Now, as more behind-the-scenes details surface, folks are starting to question how much Serena really knew about Kevin's financial situation from the start. Did she ignore the signs? Or did Kevin hide the truth until everything fell apart? What's getting even more attention now is how people are starting to look back at the entire timeline and realizing the signs were always there. Kevin moved like someone who believed the money would never stop flowing, and now that everything has flipped on him, folks are picking apart every moment he tried to look untouchable. What used to seem like confidence is starting to look more like someone scrambling to hold together an image that was slipping out of his hands. And then there's Serena, who went from glam selfies and soft life captions to full-on grind mode almost overnight. She's promoting, posting, and pushing everything she can, but people are still side-eyeing the sudden pivot because it shows just how quickly her lifestyle came crashing down. It's wild seeing someone go from living in luxury to hustling nonstop just to keep the lights on, and it has a lot of people talking. Some insiders even claim Serena has been trying to quietly clean up her digital footprint so she won't be tied to all the drama Kevin stirred up. That alone made people wonder what kind of stress she was under behind closed doors, because the shift wasn't small, it was a full reset. And the more she tries to rebuild, the more people question whether she regrets ever getting wrapped up in Kevin's world in the first place. Meanwhile, people aren't letting Kevin off the hook either. They're saying he had chance after chance to get himself together, but instead he was chasing shortcuts, lawsuits, and schemes that never worked. And now that everything is falling apart, a lot of folks feel like he's finally facing the consequences of living a lifestyle built on someone else's success. But hey, this whole situation is a reminder that truth always comes out. No matter how perfect someone makes their life look, the real story always finds its way to the surface, and this time it came out loud. And with that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. I'll catch you in the next one, and don't forget to click the next video you see on your screen for even more celebrity drama.